Is the new Ford Bronco worth the wait? No. Okay, well, maybe, but, well, there's kind of a long story behind that. So in this video, we're going to talk about, is the Bronco worth the wait? But first, the backstory. On June 17th, 1994, a man led an incredibly boring car chase through downtown Los Angeles, and shortly thereafter, Ford canceled production of all white Broncos, and actually all other colors as well. And a mere 21 years later, Ford teased the return of an icon. But you couldn't buy one in 2017, and when Ford finally dropped all the details on the Ford Bronco in 2020, well, you still couldn't buy one. And you still can't buy one a year later. You see, on top of the pandemic, Ford is having a really hard time getting these Broncos out the door. Even for super early reservation holders, the wait continues a year later. You see, the top has created delay after delay. A lot of people still don't have a VIN, a lot of people don't have build dates, and those that do have often had that build date move once or twice, and it's been kind of a debacle. And that's before we discuss all the dealer shenanigans. We have seen markups on this vehicle as high as $10, $20, $30, even $40,000, and I've heard stories of folks that placed the reservation, placed the order, and then the dealer came to them when the vehicle showed up and said, that's going to be an additional few $1,000s. So realistically, unless you were one of the folks that were super early on to the Bronco bandwagon over a year ago, and you were lucky enough to get a build date in a configuration that got produced, the wait continues for most. But the question still lies, is it worth it? Well, I do have to say that the Bronco is fantastic. It's really, really good. The design team did an excellent job of making this thing look retro cool without making it look like a caricature of its old self. The engineering team went full enchilada on the off-road gear, and the tech team really put a lot of thought into the interior. Look, I have no qualms in saying that the new Ford Bronco is slightly better than every other four-wheel drive off-roader out there. But that is exactly my problem with the Ford Bronco. Slightly better than all of its competition. And is it good enough to warrant all the headache that comes with such a highly anticipated first-year vehicle? I'm not so sure. And to make my point, let's take a spin in a 7-year-old refrigerator gray Toyota. This particular FJ Cruiser may have been $33,000 a year ago. It does have 60,000 miles, and yes, it does smell a little bit like melted crayons, but this one has 3 windshield wipers and some other good stuff as well. You see, contrary to popular belief, you don't have to be a Planet Fitness weightlifting bro to own an FJ Cruiser. You can be a normal person as well, and you absolutely should own one. Here's why. The new Ford Bronco rides on a body-on-frame construction with a sophisticated independent front suspension setup and a solid rear axle in the back. It's got crisp steering. The thing is though, even this 7-year-old Toyota has really, really good steering. Probably better than the Bronco. And the ride is actually probably better than the Bronco on the road, and the handling is just as good, if not a little better. This thing is absolutely sorted because it also has a relatively sophisticated independent front suspension and a solid rear axle. It's dead solid on the road.
All right, let me interrupt Tommy's video with a cool new thing that we've created just for all of you guys. You know, we have like 7 YouTube channels, 4 websites, 2 podcasts, even TikTok. But if you want to stay on top of all the TFL content and news, very simple way to do it. Just go to tfl-studios.com. It's a web app. You can download it to your phone, and you can get the podcast, the videos, the website news, all in one place. All right, Tommy, take it away.
Now, the Bronco does offer more optional off-road equipment. A front locker, a rear locker, a sway bar disconnect, this really cool turn assist. But the FJ Cruiser is no slouch in the off-road department. In fact, even 7 years later, this is one of the best factory off-road vehicles I have ever driven. It's got a rear locking diff, it's got a fantastic 4-wheel drive system, it's got decent articulation, it's got recovery points and skid plates, and it even has a better breakover angle than that 4-door Bronco on 35s from a stock 7-year-old Toyota. Granted, the tech in the Ford is much better. This radio, for example, looks like something straight out of the Fast and the Furious, and the backup camera, well, it's less of a backup camera and more of a tater tot with some lines on it. Yeah, it's tiny. But here's the thing, the FJ Cruiser can tow 5,000 pounds versus 3,500 pounds in that Bronco. But you can pull the doors and the roof all the way off the new Bronco. But even 7 years later, the audio system is way better in the old Toyota. But the Bronco has turbochargers, 2 of them actually. Yeah, but who wants turbochargers in an off-roader? Look, you can see where this conversation is going. Absolutely nowhere. But why not have both? If you can't realistically get a Bronco right now, why not wait a few years and get the Toyota? Not only will you skip the crazy wait times and the uncertainty of when it will arrive and the potential dealer shenanigans, but let's be honest, you'll also potentially skip the worries of owning a first-year vehicle. I don't know which one is going to be more reliable comparing Ford to Toyota, but I will say a 2014 FJ Cruiser is a pretty darn stout vehicle, and I'm not making any assumptions here, but if I had to choose one to drive to the North Pole right now in the middle of, well, if this was winter, well, I'll let you make that assumption of which one I'd choose. Well, what about the Jeep? All right, what about the Jeep? I feel like by now the Wrangler has been around long enough where most people pretty much know what this vehicle is all about. I think by now most folks know you can pull the top off a Wrangler, you can pull the doors off a Wrangler, fold the windshield down. They're very good off-road, but they're not as bad on-road as the internet may have you think. Now granted, the steering feel is, well, retro, in the same way that Rick Astley and leg warmers are retro. Not in a great way, to be honest. But unlike Rick Astley, it is tolerable. In fact, the whole on-road driving experience of the Wrangler isn't actually all that bad whatsoever. You see, back in the day, like for example, with the first generation Wrangler in 1987, they were pretty bad on-road, but at least they were also bad off-road. And I'm kind of joking, but not really at all. I had a bunch of old Wranglers, and they're not good off-road or on-road for that matter, at least in stock configuration. But the new Wrangler is actually a pretty good balance of both. Now, I'm not saying you go out and cancel your Bronco order and convert to the dark side and get a Wrangler, but I am saying you cancel your Bronco order, convert to the dark side, and lease a Wrangler, specifically the 4xe, the plug-in hybrid. Now, regardless of whether or not you like electrification, you can't ignore what a deal the plug-in hybrid Wrangler is, specifically from a lease deal. They're insanely affordable. They're the cheapest Rubicon, as far as I know, that you can lease. In fact, they might even be cheaper than a typical Wrangler. Try it out for a few years. Save the money in gasoline, and then, once all the kinks and the craziness have died down in the Bronco, maybe try out one of those. Get the best of both worlds. So is the Bronco worth the wait? No, I still don't think it is, just because it's been so many delays and so many problems, and I don't know if I'd want to go through the dealer shenanigans right now, but it is a phenomenal vehicle. It really is an excellent vehicle. So what I would do, get one in a couple years. You know, keep driving your current vehicle, or check out an FJ Cruiser or lease a Wrangler now, and then in 2023, 2024, whenever, go try out the Bronco, because by then it'll be sorted, there'll be new colors, there'll be some used options. I think that's the move, guys, because it is amazing, and Ford should be proud of what they have done, but I don't know. I think sometimes a bird in the hand is worth 3 in the bush, 2 in the bush. I think that's a saying, but let's get my dad's opinion and then we'll close it up. So what do you think, Dad, now that you've spent $63,000, well actually $70,000 on the new Bronco, is it worth the wait?
Hell yeah, the Bronco is worth the wait. Look, Jeep has had this segment all to its own for way too long. And you know what? Competition makes everything better. So yeah, we spent way too much money on this. But you know what? This time next year, these things are going to be stacked up like cordwood in front of the Ford dealership, and that is when you go and get one.
Well, that's what I said in my video, but maybe you should wait a little longer.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, right now people are asking $125,000 and the dealers are doing all kinds of shenanigans, right, trying to get more money for this. So, yeah, it's worth the wait, but just wait a little bit longer.
So I think we're pretty much on the same page as what my dad is saying. He hasn't actually heard any of this video, so let me know what you think in the comment section below. Dad, I appreciate your feedback.
And I appreciate you guys watching. We're so glad that we have one, and thanks to our friends at the Ronald McDonald House that have made this possible. See you guys next time. Ciao.